Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and I'll be stamping a card in just a couple minutes. But in the meantime, I'm just going to chat and see if a few more of you will join me. This weekend, I was at On Stage Local in Atlanta. I flew down there and I had a team member. Actually, she's a friend who signed up on my team, who got the starter kit right before I left Memphis to move to Boston. And we haven't seen each other in 5 years. And it was awesome because we have stayed connected this whole time through Stampin' Up. And we just had a really great time. And if you were there, I met so many people, took photos. It was just a really nice event. It was a one-day event. I got back on Sunday afternoon and I am still totally wiped out. I don't know, just traveling and talking to so many people back to back to back. It's very tiring and draining. So today I'm like, whoa. And maybe also, normally I drink tea, and on the weekend I really felt like I needed the extra caffeine. So I was drinking lattes, and normally I drink green tea. So I think maybe also I'm suffering from a little bit of a caffeine withdrawal. So I think I'll have another green tea at lunch just to help boost my level. But if you were there, I hope you had a great time. It's just a nice one-day event. It's one of the reasons some people get the starter kit is so that they can go to these events, and they are just wonderful. We got so many, so much like new stuff from the catalog. We got a really cool bag. It's just a really nice way. If you're very into Stampin' Up, I really recommend getting the starter kit. If you're purchasing a lot, and or you want to do classes and have a sense of your own community, being creative in your own little sphere. It's another good reason to get the starter kit, but it's a good deal anytime. It's $99 and you get $125 in the starter kit. If you want to find out more about it, you can click on the little link that I have down below. Well, anyway, good morning, Lisa from Missouri. It's nice that you're here with me this morning. So today is Casing Tuesday, and that's when we take a card from the catalog, one of the current Stampin' Up catalogs, and we give it a little bit of a makeover. And today's card was kind of fun. I used the Christmas Gleaming Bundle on it, and I will show you that to you in a moment. In the meantime, let's see, let me pull up the card. So here is today's makeover card. Now, it is not a Christmas card, and it is a card with a lot of neutral colors in it. My card looks completely different, and that's what often happens when you make over a card. And this card's kind of a squarish card, so mine was actually also a rectangle, but you can do it in any way that you want. You can do it as a square card, a horizontal card, a vertical card. And then we've created a little sketch for you. This one is done in landscape mode, and we've kind of simplified the little layers for you. Now, you don't have to follow the layers exactly. If you have an image that's larger or smaller, you can adjust. And that's kind of the fun part. It's a little bit of a process. It gives you a starting point, and it gives you a way to share with other people, because of course we have a Facebook group that you can join. And this morning I went in as I was posting my card, and I just approved 4 new members, so that's really nice to have some new people come in. And each week you are welcome to share, you're welcome to lurk, you're welcome to comment on our cards. I'd love to see some more comments. And it just kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with one particular layout, because generally people, there of course, usually there are a few people that use the same stamp set or bundle, but there's usually at least 5 to 10 different stamp sets or bundles represented. So it's a nice way to kind of see what the potential of a particular layout is. Good morning, Karen, and good morning, Catherine. Well, I'm going to switch my camera around now and talk about the card that I made for this challenge. So let me see. Hopefully my camera's working. Oh, good. I always love it when my camera works. There are some days when things don't work the way they should. Technology, always a little challenging. All right, so here is my card for the day. I'm using the Christmas Gleaming Bundle. Oh, actually, I'm missing one of the punches. Let me grab that real quick. The Christmas Gleaming Bundle actually comes with 2 punches, and I'm only using one of them. So let me see if I can angle this a little bit so you can see the shape. So I have this punch right here that matches these 2 stamps, and then there's this one here that matches this stamp. And it also has some very nice greetings like this Merry Christmas that I used, and deck the halls with boughs of holly, and be jolly this season, and it has this beautiful I guess a holly stamp, which I use as well. So it's a very nice little set. And because I've been feeling a little low energy, I have been working on some projects with this that I hope to get out this week. I've been working on a little ornament that I think you'll love. It just needs a little bit more tweaking. And then I want to come up with something else. So hopefully I'll have that for you later this week. We also have a sale coming up, which features 8 bundles out of the online catalog. And the Regals and Neutrals ink pads and cardstocks will be 15% off. Now, I just want to make a quick little caveat for this sale. They have limited stock available. Now, they do have a lot of stock on hand, but if they reach their limits, they're going to turn off those numbers. So my suggestion is, once the sale goes live tomorrow, go in and get what you want, because by Thursday or Friday, it might be slim pickings. I know some demonstrators will want to stock up on cardstock, especially. Ink pads will probably be a little bit easier to get, but cardstock, let's just face it, demonstrators are cardstock. We need a lot of it because some of us do classes, some of us create kits, and so we're always going through the cardstock. So those might go quickly. So just keep that in mind. I'm not quite as worried about the bundles because that's not a situation where people would stock up. But the cardstock, yeah, I'm a little worried about that. Okay. So let's start making this card, and I'm going to use a piece of Pretty Peacock, and this piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to use my little holly stamp, and I'm going to grab my peacock ink pad. Now, I did this card in a little bit unusual colors, not really unusual for this catalog cycle, because we have, let me grab the paper. Oh, it's across the room. This paper right here, which is just gorgeous. And I was trying to find a way to incorporate it, but in the end I decided let's do a non-paper card just in case this paper sells out and someone sees my card later on and wants to make it. So this paper is called the Brightly Gleaming Specialty Paper, and it's got these very pretty copper elements in it. And so actually you can see, if you're looking at my card, you can see I've included the peacock and the navy that's in this paper on my card. So not really unusual colors for this catalog, but it is kind of, if you're just seeing this color combination just flipping through, you're like, whoa, that's like kind of the blue green is not really your typical color, but I actually really like it. It's kind of like a serene Christmas. Do any of you did you follow Martha Stewart in the past? I think this is kind of a Martha Stewart color, this kind of this mint macaron color. She used a lot of like blue greens, so I think they're very calming and soothing. So let me just ink up this little stamp, and I'm going to stamp this right down here at the bottom. And then I'm gonna stamp one more. I'm just kind of twisting it a little bit. Just want a little peeking out. I hear a chainsaw in the back. You can't hear it probably because my microphone won't pick it up, but I always wonder with a chainsaw, what's being cut down? I always feel for trees. Hope it's not a pretty tree. It's probably a dead tree, but. All right, so just 3 of these, just very simply stamped, and they kind of create a little bit of texture in the background. Okay, so I can set this piece aside, and now let's stamp the ornaments. And I'm just using a plain piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to use the ornaments. I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock ink pad again, and I'm just going to put this up and stamp it down, and then this one, and leave enough room, stamp it down. Now these little guys look a little plain, and I think I am done with my Pretty Peacock, so I can set it aside. So I just want you to kind of see when I stamped these, they look pretty, but I thought I could do a little better. So I went in and I got my Stampin' Blends, and I started off with my dark smoky slate, and I just went in and I hit this top to kind of give it the look of a silver top. Suppose I could have done like a brown to make it kind of look copperish, but since I'm not using the actual paper, I went with silver. I kind of like blue and silver. It's like very cold or cool tones, right, when you do blue and silver, but I kind of felt like this was a cool toned card. So let me see. Good morning, Mary, who's joined me too. Did I say hello to everyone? I think so. Okay, so now let's go in, and I'm going to use the brush tip of my mint, not the brush tip, the bullet tip of my mint macaron dart, and I'm going to hit all these central diamonds right here, and this just helps give it a little bit of a boost, just so it's not so just peacock and white. Now we've got one other shade coming in, and if you like to color, this is fun. If you don't like to color, then don't do this. Then you know, just leave it as it is. And but this is kind of fun actually, to just hit this with a little bit of mint macaron and just kind of give it a nice little, there, that looks better. And then for this one, I was like, how am I going to color this one? Because now this one looks so nice. So all I did is I went over the lines with my bullet tip. Yeah, very simple. I didn't color in anything. I just colored along everything. So yeah, it takes just a little while, but you know, you just kind of swirl along the lines, and you don't have to worry about being 100% perfect. You're just kind of following along, and it might be darker on one side, a little lighter on the other, but you're just kind of hitting it, and it's going to give this ornament just a little bit more of an oomph, because it was, so you can see part of it's done and part of it's not done, and you can already see how this part just pops so much more. So you can just, this is like a really easy coloring technique that, you know, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It still leaves some white space, so you're not coloring in everything. So it just kind of looks good. There, that's it. That didn't take too long, right? And then I'm going to take my punch. I've misplaced it. Okay. And then you just kind of make sure you line it up. Sometimes it's easier when you're standing right above it and to make sure that you've got it lined up properly. there's one. And then let me do number 2. All right, so I've got my 2 little ornaments, and now I have a little bit of a scrap of Whisper White that I will need for my greeting. And I'm going to use Night of Navy just to make it a little darker than the ornaments. And I'm using this little bold Merry Christmas stamp. So you just want to make sure when you're inking this up, if you're using our new firm foam ink pads, well, they're not that new, but they're the newer ones compared to the linen ones, you should be able to get a pretty good impression. But always just hold it down for a few seconds to give that ink a chance to catch on to the paper. And I just give it a tiny wiggle, not a wobble, a little wiggle, so that make sure I get all the 4 corners. And doesn't that look nice? It just looks really nice and crisp and clean. And then I'm going to take some snips. Let me grab those. All right. Oh, I cut something with it and it stuck to it. So I'm going to create a little bit of a white edge, which you don't have to do. You can cut right along the navy. But I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to cut all the way off. I'm just going to kind of come right here. That way I have something to hold on to while I'm cutting, which is always a good thing. Now I'll cut this off, and then I'll cut along here. And along here. And there's the little Merry Christmas with a little tiny white edge. So that looks nice. It will help pop that greeting a little bit with a little white edge on it. All right, so let's assemble this card. Oh, one more thing I want to do. I have some Wink of Stella here, and to make the Christmas Gleaming Ornaments, you need a little bit of gleaming. So I'm just going to come in and just brush over some Wink of Stella onto, I might need to squeeze this a bit. When you're squeezing Wink of Stella, make sure that you do it over something, not over your project. I did it once, and yeah, it was a little bit of a disaster. I had a big Wink of Stella blob on there. That's not really what I wanted. So I'm just going to add that and do this with here. Come down. And now you probably won't be able to see it very well today on my camera. It's a very dull day. There's not a lot of sparkle on today's day. But whoop, got a little bit heavy-handed down there. So I'm just spreading it around. So yeah, today you won't be able to see it. But the important thing sometimes with cards is, and really that's why we make them, is to give them to someone, right? So when the person gets it and it hits the light, the Wink of Stella will wink at you. It's not like a hug type of card where it comes out and gives you a big hug. It's like a wink, a little tiny glimmer of loveliness. So let me stick this ink pad away before I stick my fingers in it. All right, and then we're going to take a card base, and this one is half a sheet of cardstock, and I cut it the long way. So this is 11 by 4 1/4, and then scored in half at the 5.5 inch mark. I already told you the measurements of this layer that we stamped, and now we'll just need some Tombow, and we're going to glue the 2 of these together. I do like to use Tombow a lot of times because Tombow really sticks well. Your card will not be coming apart no matter where it ends up in the world, because sometimes what happens with some adhesive, it different parts of the world, if you're dry, if you're humid, sometimes adhesive can react. And I really like Tombow because it bonds really well. All right, now we need a piece. Now I cut this piece with the stitched nested framelits, and I want to be sensitive to people that maybe don't have a big shot. So what do you do when you don't have a big shot? You cut yourself a rectangle, because if you're going to be a paper crafter, you do really need to have a paper trimmer, and they don't cost a lot. We sell one for $25. We have a new one. So what I would suggest, I'm just going to measure for you here. This is about 2 3/8 inches, and I would kind of split the difference between the tip. I would probably go about 4 inches, and you just cut yourself a little rectangle. But if you do have this die, or you want to get this die, it's really nice because it's got that little extra stitching around the edge, so it kind of makes it look pretty. And for those of you who are going to use this die, this is the second largest one. So to make it easy for myself, I'm going to center it from top to bottom and kind of to the side. It might be a little narrow on the side, and you can kind of just help yourself by making sure that it is straight along this edge here. Make sure it is all squared up, because this card is a square card. It is a card that is meant to be straight on, not crooked. So I'm going to line up my ornaments like that, and I'm also going to add my little Merry Christmas down here. It's easier if you add your Merry Christmas first. Let me grab some mini dimensionals. I'm going to pop up this little Merry Christmas with 3 little mini dimensionals, and I love these little guys because I don't have to cut my big dimensionals in half anymore. They're just the perfect little size, and I can pick off these little backings. And now we've got some double-sided adhesive, and we'll come in and just add this right down here like that. And now, because I've arranged everything ahead of time, I can make sure that everything kind of gets to the right place. Put a little bit of Tombow on the back of here, and I'm just bringing that ornament just inside of the stitching, and then I'll add this one also just inside of the stitching, just so it looks nice. Okay, and then I thought to just top this off, I would add like a little bow onto one of the ornaments. It doesn't have to be, sometimes it's good not to be too symmetrical. Sometimes when you're too symmetrical, it's just, on a card, it actually makes it harder to know where to look when you're too symmetrical. So you notice how this card will have this nice little flow going on here. So I'll just take a mini glue dot and stick it on the edge of my bow. And this ribbon is, I forgot the name of the ribbon. I really like it. It's a mint macaron, and it is called textile ribbon, mint macaron textile ribbon, and it's from the annual catalog. So I like that because right now it is not on back order. It's available right at this very moment. No worries. And because it's probably a non-traditional Christmas color, it's probably not going to sell out immediately right now because it's not spring. So there you go. And I just noticed that I want to snip this a little bit. When I was handling it, my little bow got a little bit frayed. So there. And there are the cards. Aren't they cute? Well, should they be cute? They're elegant. They're very, very elegant, serene, very, I don't know. They're not like a fun kid Christmas card. They're definitely a more like a very elegant sort of card. Maybe that, I don't know who you would give this to. I guess you would decide that, but I do like it. It's kind of like a very mature, tasteful card, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of my Christmas card? Let's see. Oh, and Amy, one of my downline, she's here from Washington State. She got to go to on stage for her very first time. Now, we weren't in the same location, which was sad, but the cool thing was one of my other downlines, Susan, was going to the Portland location, and so that was really neat. Over here now. That was really neat. They got to hang out together, and Susan, even though we live really far apart, Susan has come to visit me, and I have gone to visit her. So Susan and Amy hung out in Portland on Saturday, and that was so much fun. Karen says she likes the white edge around the sentiment. Yeah, you know, it makes it just a little bit bigger, and it makes it pop. Thank you, Catherine. I'm glad you like the card. And Brenda, Brenda used to be one of my customers, and she said, "Did I go to Hartford?" And I know I didn't go to Hartford. Were you in Hartford, Brenda? Because one day I would like to meet you. I was in Atlanta because at the beginning, if you go back to the beginning of the video, I explained that I was in Hartford with one of my friends who signed up as a demonstrator 5 years ago, and we hung out together. It was a great day, and we hung out with another friend that I had made a long time ago, and we sat at the same table together, and then we met a new friend, and oh my gosh, she made us this beautiful table gift, this beautiful framed table gift. It was amazing. And we just have fun. And I'm kind of the candy girl. If you ever sit at my table, or if you come by my table, I usually have candy sitting out. I've done this for 2 on stages now. I fold up these little origami, for lack of a better word, it's like a little basket. I use a 12 by 12 sheet, fold it up, and I can take it with me because usually I'm flying into the location, and I just kind of fly with it, kind of half done, and fold it up, and then when I get there, I just kind of assemble it the rest of the way, and then I put candy in it for a table, and it's very helpful. Normally I would never eat that much candy, but I'm telling you, during the day, it's like a long day, and so to have a little bit of extra sugar is a good thing. So we had a lot of fun at our table. So Brenda, you were in Hartford. Well, one of these days, I have been to the Hartford location before, but it was the last time it was in Hartford, which was a few on stages ago. So next time there's an on stage, let me know if you're going, and let me know which location you're going to. I would love to meet you in person. All right, guys. Oh, and hello, Connie from Denmark. And like I said before I went to on stage, if you are a demonstrator and you want to say hello, please say hello. I generally consider myself really friendly. Sometimes I'm like involved in a conversation, but please say hi. I'd love to meet you. And my customers, I love you too, and I'm so happy that you come and watch my videos, because I'm telling you, at the beginning of this video, this live video, I was feeling really blah. And maybe that's because I got home and my husband is still at his conference and I'm here all alone, and my son's up in Canada at university, and I think maybe I was suffering not only for caffeine withdrawal, but from people withdrawal, and just even being here on this video with you and getting some feedback from you just is making me feel a whole lot better. Mary says she loves my sweater. This is actually a turtleneck. Okay, I'll tell you, this is a thing about me. When I find something that I like, I go ahead and buy a lot of them. And I don't know about you, but I get cold really quickly, and I like kind of like a tight fitting base layer. And this is, if you've never heard of a company or a product called Cuddle Duds, this is their Cuddle Duds turtleneck. And if you don't like turtlenecks, they also make a like a long sleeve without a turtleneck. It's a terrific base layer. It's soft. I think it's a blend like cotton poly. And I'm telling you, for all of you cotton lovers, I actually like, I've had pure cotton turtlenecks before, and I have cotton poly, and I have to tell you, I like the cotton poly blend a lot better, because cotton in winter and even in the summer, for some reason, cotton poly is just a great blend. It feels good on the skin. This is so soft and nice. So I have these in a bunch of different colors, so I'm sorry, but that's just me. And then what I do is I have vests. I have a down vest. When I get cold, I put on a vest. It leaves my arms free so I can work, and it keeps my core warm. So that's kind of my strategy for winter, is having this layer. Or if you want, this makes a great base layer for like a sweater or whatever you want to put on, because it's thin, close to the skin. But love Cuddle Duds, and they're available at Kohl's. So that's where I usually get mine. And every year it seems that like they have a few new patterns, so I go ahead and I get some new patterns. So for those of you living in warm climates, if you want to try that out, let me know what you think if you do. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'm going to work on my little ornament that I worked on last night, and hopefully one other project. And don't forget about the sale that starts tomorrow. I'm a little bit worried about that cardstock selling out quickly. So if you're interested in getting stuff on the sale, order tomorrow. It's the best strategy. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.